There you go. Good morning, everyone. Coffee with Lilli. After a few days off, had a nice VIP call with one of my coaches, which is amazing, and getting set for a busy day and week ahead. So, a little bit of a deep one today about rejection. And my invitation is to see how this might be showing up in your life. I think no matter who we are, we have been affected with rejection in our lives. We've been affected, like, for some of us may have been bullied in school. Some of us may have been bullied at home. Some of us may have been rejected for or not seen for our true expressions at one point in time. And so we learn to suppress. We learned instead of express, we learn to suppress. And when we start to try to break these patterns, it can almost feel like that you want to die. Like it's the fear of putting yourself forward. If we're talking about relationship communication, or if we're talking about dating and the courting process, is those fears can really hold us back from, really finding and pursuing the things that we want to live our dreams, really. 1 minute. And, like I said, it's a pretty deep thing. And I think it's actually fairly common. If this happens over and over again, what happens is our different things happen in our bodies that start to inform the way that we move forward, like decisions that we want to make. If there was a traumatic thing that happened around rejection, or that happened continuously around rejection, there are parts in our nervous system, there are parts in our brain and our neural networks that tells us that are kind of holding that trauma, either that specific traumatic event or multiple small, maybe even traumatic events. An example for me is dating. Dating used to be very, very anxiety provoking for me. I felt like that I was kind of doing the best that I could. In short, it was a kind of a traumatic experience, because I was kind of just going into that kind of with very few boundaries, with very few guidelines. And so it ended up like being something that I would really try to quote unquote manage, like a lot of messages or a lot of interest, a lot of back and forth talking. I was giving my energy, right? Anytime we interact with anything in our lives, like even presently, like this that you're seeing is like a giving of my energy. And I would go through these phases of like being on dating apps, trying to manage all of that, as a, like a manager, I guess part of me really kind of wanted to, like the love part of me really wanted to find that one person. But it got hard to manage, and then I would hit burnout. I would delete the apps, kind of wallow in depression for a little bit, and then come back around. And that circle or that cycle happened again and again and again. And if you're already partnered in a relationship, I would invite you to think of how this would apply to you. Like when I was in relationship, especially my unhealthy relationships, it was, again, like a lot of energy put towards trying to communicate, trying to change things, like trying to tell him what I want, and then really putting myself out there in that way, and then it being rejected, or his actions wouldn't line up with his words, and then I would close down, shut down, go through a depressive cycle, pick myself back up, try again. And that happened multiple times. So if you're seeing some type of cycle with regard to putting out there what you want, if you're seeing a cycle with regard to the way that you're being in partnership or in romantic relationship, like that kind of crash and then burn cycle, then there may be something coming up for you with regard to rejection. And you may think, well, I'm good with rejection. I can put myself out there. I'm really strong. Maybe not. But also, what I do know is that this cycle is one of those crash and burn repeat cycles, and there is something, I'm almost 100% positive that there is something strong within you that may be holding you back. And if you want to call it emotional trauma, if you want to call it a limiting pattern, but what I do want to put out there for you is that this pattern can be healed. And what happens is, if it's not healed, then that fear of rejection, that fear of putting yourself out there, it gets stronger. Just like if you go to a gym and you start like doing bicep curls and you want your biceps to get bigger. If this pattern is completed again and again and again, then it would make sense why it continues to happen again and again. That's all that your body knows. That's all that your brain knows. And therefore, that's why the behaviors and the actions, maybe attracting the wrong people or having a lot of trouble in dating, it's why you see the same thing happening again and again, is because there's an inner part of you that hasn't been healed yet. So I hope that helps. Like I said, it's a very interesting thing to think about, and I'd love for you to kind of explore what it means to you if my examples that I'm putting out today don't make sense or don't line up with you. But I'm wondering if you can touch into that deeper part of you that is afraid to put herself out there because of what might happen. And if it's something that you think that you can't control, or you think is just too scary, then my invitation to you is like to start to look into how that you can heal these emotional patterns or this emotional trauma that's kind of keeping you stuck, if that's where you are. Also, I do have an offer for you. If you're open to receiving support, I am putting out an offer today. One new spot has opened up in my Align into Authenticity 101 coaching program. So if you're open to receiving support in healing this part of you that is scared of being rejected, and it's kind of holding you back for being in your true confident essence, which we all are. We all have that inside of us. But if you're open to working together in healing that, this spot is open. It's only going to be open for a week. Message me and I can send you some times that we can chat. And I'd love to explore that with you. We all deserve love. True love. Limitless love. Even you. Love you.